All right, guys, here's my summary. We did another test. We did it a further distance, so we had the truck run out to about 5 miles to make sure all the callers got out of range. We recorded the tracks, and what we did is we measured the point where it lost the signal, the furthest point it tracked on the way out. We measured that point, and then we measured the furthest point of the measurement on the way in. And so I'm going to go over the data really quick. So let's just start with the E-Seek. Caller 1 tracked out to 2.35 miles. Caller 2, 2.89. Caller 3, 2.89. Caller 4, 1.74. I will say caller 4 on both the Garmin and the E-Seek were in the bottom of the truck bed, so I would expect those to track not very good. So look at those numbers and go, that data is going to be lower than everything else. On the second handheld, 2.68. We got a really far distance of 3.63. We got one ping at that distance, but we're going to count it because that was the furthest distance. 2.85 and 1.77. So that's the E-Seek, okay? I'm not going to talk about the coming in on the distances. We're just going to compare those to the distances going out. So on the Garmin, 2.85, 2.23, 2.27, 1.3. I can say that one caller, so if I compared 1-to-1, the Garmin tracked further on one handheld, 2.28, about the same as the E-Seek, 2.68. So it looks like one E-Seek handheld tracked about the same as one Garmin handheld, and vice versa. On the second caller, 2.23, 2.27, 2.27, 2.86. I can say those are 2.3. We got 2.84, 2.89, 3.6, 2.85. Clearly the E-Seek, on average, tracked a little bit further on the way out. Now, if we look at when you pick the dog back up, right? So what is the distance once it loses signal? What does it come back to? This is a little interesting because on the E-Seek, I got 1.38, 1.8, 1.4, and 0.8 miles. That's whenever we pick the caller back up coming from a different direction. So you can't fake those numbers. The E-Seek, you have to see the caller coming on the other side. Now, on handheld number 2, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to try and show you this. I can't measure the data because if you look right here, this is our route. You can see these are the distances that it tracked before it lost it. We went all the way up here, come out this road down here, come out through here, and the E-Seek never picked it up. However, to be safe with the E-Seek, it was measuring numbers, but we were planning on looking at the map to get the data off the map. And because the E-Seek did not map out and put that line on there, I cannot tell when it actually picked it up. I do know it wasn't 0, like right now. I know it was better than that. It wasn't better than Garmin, but there's a problem with the E-Seek showing the maps, and that wasn't part of the test. So we only got one handheld to go off of. Here's our numbers. Garmin picking up 1.74, 1.75 for the second handheld. Those matched up. Picked up 1.74, better than 1.38. Picked up at 2.12, picked up at 2 miles, better than 1.8 on this one. 1.71, 1.72, better than 1.4. And then again, our crap caller on number 4, 540 yards. That's a fail, 550. So whatever. And again, those callers were tucked in the bed, so they're getting blocked by the bed. There's a lot of things going on number 4. I should throw that data out on both sides because it doesn't really add up. It's more a matter of what's blocking it in the truck bed where the antenna is. But clearly, if I look at these numbers, on the way out, E-Seek wins. It tracked further than the Garmin. On the way in, Garmin clearly wins. It tracked the callers further once you lost the signal where it picked them up. So I don't know what you call that. I mean, I would call that a wash. It's good, it's bad, it's not. There's not a clear winner here. This isn't clearly out-tracking Garmin. Garmin's clearly not out-tracking it. You can, and this is what happens, is you can be out hunting and you got that one dog that hits 3.63 miles right there, and that handheld, that caller tracked 3.63 miles, but the second handheld that we're testing only tracked 2.89 miles. And so it's very easy for these hunters to get out in the woods and track 1 point and get just a ping and go, man, I tracked that dog at 5 miles. And no other hunter in my group could track that. That doesn't mean it's consistently tracking better. You have to look at the data. That's why I want 2 handhelds, because I can see the same collar got almost a half a mile more distance on the E-Seek. And one of the collars tracked right along with the Garmin. One of them just outperformed it. How it got that far signal, I don't know. But this is what happens in the internet is somebody will take that number and they'll brag about that 3.63 number and make it seem really good. When you look at the real data and you look at everything, it's like, well, did it track farther? Yes, it did. Does it mean it's always going to track farther? Man, I might run this test again and maybe it drops down. I don't know. So anyways, interesting.